Charles of France, Duke of Berry, was a grandson of Louis XIV of France. Although he was only a grandson of Louis XIV, Berry held the rank of fils de France, rather than petit-fils de France, as the son of the Dauphin, heir apparent to the throne. The Duke of Berry was for 7 years heir presumptive to the throne of Spain. Biography. Born at the palaces of Versailles, Charles was the youngest son of Louis Dauphin of France, Le Grand Dauphin, and of Maria Anna Victoria of Bavaria. One of 3 children, he was the uncle of the future Louis XV, the son of his brother Louis, Duke of Burgundy. Charles' other brother, Philip, Duke of Anjou, was the future Philip V of Spain. Charles was styled Duke of Berry at his birth, but never actually possessed the duchy. In 1710, he was invested with his appanage, consisting in the duchies of Alençon, of Angoulême, county of Poitou and other minor fiefs. Poitou was exchanged some month later for other domains. By a special brevet, his grandfather permitted him to keep the title Duke of Berry, which he held until his death. As the third son of the Dauphin, Berry was not expected to inherit the throne, and at his father's death in 1711, his oldest brother Louis, Duke of Burgundy, became Dauphin. However, in agreement with the testament of Charles II, King of Spain, the Duke of Berry was heir presumptive to the Spanish throne from November 1700 until the 15th of August 1707. He renounced all his rights to the Spanish succession on the 24th of November 1712, in application of the treaties of Utrecht. As a result of the prestige of his birth, cadet branches of the royal family saw in him a splendid match for their daughters. One of his aunts, Louise Françoise de Bourbon, Princesse de Condé, the legitimized daughter of Louis XIV and Madame de Montespan, proposed her beautiful daughter, Louise Elizabeth de Bourbon, but the marriage proposal came to naught, much to the annoyance of the House of Bourbon-Condé. The Princesse de Condé's sister, Françoise Marie de Bourbon, Duchesse d'Orléans, then suggested a union with her eldest daughter, Marie-Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans. The marriage with Marie-Louise Elizabeth, daughter of Philippe d'Orléans, Duke of Orléans, the future regent of France, took place on the 6th of July 1710. A miscarriage ended the first pregnancy of Marie-Louise Elizabeth, who then gave birth to a premature boy who lived just a few weeks. She was again pregnant at the death of her husband, but miscarried a girl 1 month later. The Duchess was notoriously unfaithful to her husband and even thought of running away with her lover La Haye. Elizabeth Charlotte, Duchess Dowager of Orléans and the grandmother of Berry's wife, nicknamed him Berry Boncoeur, and later wrote on the marriage between him and her granddaughter. At first he was passionately fond of his wife, but at the end of 3 months he fell in love with a little, ugly, femme de chambre. The Duchess, who had sufficient penetration, was not slow in discovering this, and told her husband immediately that, if he continued to live upon good terms with her, as he had done at first, she would say nothing about it, and act as if she were not acquainted with it, but if he behaved ill, she would tell the whole affair to the king, and have the femme de chambre sent away, so that he should never hear of her again. By this threat she held the Duke, who was a very simple man, so completely in check that he lived very well with her up to his death, leaving her to do as she pleased, and dying himself as fond as ever of the femme de chambre. A year before his death he had her married, but on the condition that the husband should not exercise his marital rights. He left her pregnant as well as his wife, both of whom lay in after his decease. Madame de Berry, who was not jealous, retained this woman, and took care of her and her child. 1 month later, the Duchess gave birth prematurely to a girl who died the next day. During the regency of her father, the young widow became known as a Messalina, ill reputed for the deeds debauched life she led in her Luxembourg palace, her health rapidly undermined by gluttony, alcoholism and a series of clandestine pregnancies, Madame de Berry died on the 21st of July 1719. The autopsy revealed that the princess was again with child, although she had almost died at the end of March 1719, when giving birth to a stillborn child allegedly fathered by her captain of the guards. In 1712, Berry's eldest brother, Louis, Duke of Burgundy, Dauphin of France, and the latter's elder son, Louis, Duke of Brittany, died. It was foreseeable that Berry would serve as regent for his brother's younger son, Louis, Duke of Anjou, but, on the 5th of May 1714, he died from internal injuries sustained in a hunting accident. His death rendered the details of the regency less straightforward than before. The Duke and the Duchess of Berry had 3 children, none of whom reached 1 month of age. As her children of France, they needed a surname. However, since the father was Duke of Berry only by name, the surname was not de Berry, but de Lancon, taken from his first substantial duchy. Na de Lancon, Grand Author of France. Charles de Lancon, grandson of France, Duke of Alençon. Marie-Louise Elizabeth de Lancon, Grand Author of France. Ancestors. Titles, styles, honors and arms. Titles and styles. Birth: the 30th of June 1710. Most high and most powerful Prince Charles, son of France, Duke of Berry. The 30th of June 1710. September 1710. Most high and most powerful Prince Charles, son of France, Duke of Berry, of Alençon and of Angoulême, Count of Ponthieu, Lord of the Castiglianes of Noyelles, Haumont, Cotteville and La Mesnil. September 1710. The 5th of May 1714. Most high and most powerful Prince Charles, son of France, Duke of Berry, of Alençon and of Angoulême, Viscount of Vernon, Andely and Gisors, Lord of the Castiglianes of Rignac and Mapins. Other honors: Knight of the Holy Spirit, Knight of St. Michael, Knight of St. Louis, Knight of the Golden Fleece. Arms: the Duke of Berry assumed the royal arms differenced with a bordure and grailed gules, the mark of cadency traditionally associated with the Duchy of Berry since the 14th century and with the coronet of a child of France above the shield.